Hi there Booktube, it's Eleanor here and it's time for my Friday read. So before I get into the books that I've read this week, I'm going to do my Booktuber shout out as always. And this week I want to shout out Meryl from Blackbird's Books. She is a 22-year-old booktuber from the Netherlands. She reads YA and adult fiction, and she recently read Fingersmith, which she enjoyed, which made me really happy. I've really been enjoying watching her videos, and I think she's a great person to subscribe to. So I'm going to link her down below. Go and check her out and show her some Booktube love. As always, you guys are always so great at going along and checking out the videos that I mentioned, so thank you for that. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to the people that you go over and see and often subscribe to, because they're great. So that's Meryl from Blackbird's Books, and she's my Booktuber shout out of this week. So the first book I read this week was And Again by Jessica Chiarella. I really wanted to pick this up. I'd wanted to pick it up for ages, but it really gave me a boost to pick it up faster when Joss from Scribbles Reads had raved about it. It's been an interesting one actually, because people that like me, that like a really emotional response from a book, have not enjoyed this book. And then people who I would say, this sounds terrible, not more of the thinkers, but the people that that read books more for enjoying thinking about the characters and really thinking about the characters' motivations for things, and are less interested, not less interested, but perhaps don't need that emotional response to find a book good, have really raved about it. And so I thought I was gonna not like it, because I tend to like a really fast, punchy plot with some high emotions. But actually this surprised me and I really enjoyed it. I didn't have a strong emotional connection with any of the characters, but I found the concept and the idea behind this so fascinating that it really drew me in. So in the story we're following 4 different protagonists and their points of view, and they're all part of this program called Sublife, which is where terminally ill people have been given the chance to have a new body. So their memories have been put into a new perfect body where the gene for whatever it is that they've been terminally ill with, cancer or whatever, has been taken out, so they're not likely, or they won't get that disease again, because obviously a clone of a body might be genetically inclined to have the same problems. And so these 4 people are part of a test program because this Sublife is looking for FDA approval. So the 4 people we follow are very different. We've got David, who is a politician who is prone to excess, has been a bit of a womanizer and partaken in alcohol and substance abuse. We have Connie, who is was an actress and who contracted HIV from a dirty needle, I believe. And then we have Hannah, who is a cancer patient who is an artist. And we have Linda, who has been paralysed for 8 years from a car accident, only being able to communicate through blinking. All of these 4 people have committed to a year's worth of counselling after getting their new bodies. So we get to know them, we get to know their relationships with each other, because only they can understand each other, being the only 4 people ever to have been in this position. We follow the pitfalls of getting a new body and the emotional state it can put you in. Linda, for example, has 2 children, and for the last 8 years she has missed seeing them grow up. So how does she interact with them? How do they interact with her? And what has been going on in their lives prior to them getting these illnesses or having these accidents? Has that gone away, or are those issues still there? It's a really interesting idea and I really enjoyed this, and I gave it 4 stars. The next thing I picked up was a graphic novel, and that was The Beauty by Jeremy Horn, Jason A. Hurley and John Roch. I loved the look of this. The artwork is exactly the type of artwork that I like. It's very clean drawings. It uses different colours. The basic premise of this story is that you can become beautiful, but it's a sexually transmitted disease. So people are going out, finding these people that have contracted this sexually transmitted disease and having sex in order to become beautiful. And we're following as things start to go a bit wrong, people start to spontaneously combust. We're following a conspiracy and some detectives that are trying to uncover what's going on, government plotting, and pharmaceutical companies playing dirty. And this was really good. It was a really great start to a series. I can't wait to see where it goes. And I gave this one 4 stars. The next book I haven't got to show you because it's gone back to the library, but I read Where Do You Go Bernadette by Maria Semple. I wasn't sure if I was going to like this or not, but I had heard great things and it seemed like quite a fast read, so I picked it up in between other books and I really enjoyed it. It's the story of Bernadette. She is an ex sort of architectural savant. She is left architecture, and we're following the story from her daughter Bee's perspective. It's all told through sort of emails and notes and messages to and from different people, with some small paragraphs in there as well as sort of like Bee's observations, as if she's writing in a journal. So there's Bernadette, who is the ex-architect genius. There is her husband, who is a Microsoft genius, who is high up in Microsoft and involved in creation of new programs and applications. And then Bee, who is a brilliant daughter who is very clever and doing amazingly at school. And she has her head screwed on. Various things happen, and because of Bernadette's eccentric behaviour, various things are set in motion, and then Bernadette disappears. And this is the story about Bee trying to find her. So we're almost going back and following the thread to try and discover what has led to Bernadette's disappearance. And it's just a really interesting story. It's a bit out there. A little bit unrealistic at times, which is why I didn't love it. One of the things I really loved was there was no love interest for Bee in this. Bee was just a normal girl of I think 15, and there was no romance in there at all. It was just a really fun story and I really enjoyed it, so I gave it 4 stars. The next book was a spur of the moment buddy read with the lovely Jen from Today in Jen's Library, and we decided we were going to pick up Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren. We both had this on our shelves and we're both looking desperately for a new Jill Shalvis story. We both want a new Lucky Harbour series replacement, and so we decided to give this a go. And oh my god, Jen was definitely more disappointed with me, but I really did not like this book. The main character was a complete arsehole. He went from arsehole to sort of nice-ish guy, like a 180. I didn't understand where that came from. We got absolutely no insight into his personality or what made him the way he was. It was just lacked in personality. It felt like the author had written a load of sex scenes and then tried to hook them together with some type of plot, which was really basic and predictable, and there was just no depth to this. I had absolutely no emotions for either of the characters. I didn't like either of them particularly. Yeah, it just lacked everything. It just wasn't a great book. Now I've given it 2 stars because I don't know if I've ever explained my rating system, but basically I generally don't give 1 stars because that's my DNF. A 1 star is a DNF for me. So this is pretty bad. So yeah, I did finish it, so I didn't DNF it, but 2 stars, and I wouldn't recommend it. Unfortunately, I also I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't for me. So I had to DNF a book this week, and again it was my Booktuber recommends. I don't know what's going on. This is the 2nd in a row. Unfortunately, I really didn't get on with Shadowfell by Juliette Marillier. This book has such high ratings and loads of people love it, and I'm really sorry, Tanya, that it wasn't for me, but thank you for recommending it anyway. I'm just not into stories with fae, really. I find them very hit or miss, and this I just didn't find very interesting. I found it was a bit slow moving. There wasn't an awful lot going on. It was just the main character sort of wandering around quite a bit. Yeah, it just wasn't for me, and I wasn't feeling it, and so I had to DNF it, unfortunately. And then the final book I completed this week was also a buddy read, and that was The Collector by John Fowles. I read this with the lovely Rosie from Sparkles Books, and yeah, we were both a bit disappointed in this one as well. I'd heard great things about this, and oh, Yeah, so basically the story is about a man. We're getting it from his perspective to begin with. He is a butterfly collector. He's a bit strange. He's obsessed with a girl, Miranda, who lives in his sort of village, I think. He ends up winning, I think it's the pools, or yeah, the pools. He wins the pools, which is quite a lot of money. He ends up buying this remote house and kidnapping her and keeping her in the basement. And it sounded like the premise of a really interesting story, but it just wasn't. There just wasn't much there. It was very predictable. The whole second half of the book is the same story retold from her point of view with some of her thoughts, which was boring. There was no twists, no turns. I didn't feel any atmosphere. The only thing that sort of pulled it back a little bit for me was the ending was quite ominous, which I quite liked, and the writing, I mean, the writing was great. The writing was very poetic and very well written. Just the story just didn't do anything for me. I'm so angry, but yeah, it was okay, and I think it's one of those books that a lot of people love, and yeah, unfortunately me and Rosie weren't two of those, so I'm going to give it 3 stars. It's really sort of 2.75 for me, but I'm rounding it up to 3 stars because it wasn't terrible. The writing was quite good and it was an easy enough read. So yeah, that's that one. So unfortunately it wasn't my best reading week in terms of quality of book that I enjoyed, but I'm really pleased with the books that I've read. I'm currently reading Northanger Abbey, Gone with the Wind, and I'm picking up various other books in between, so I will let you know about those next week. And obviously next week is the Book Buddyathon. Well, tomorrow is the Book Buddyathon, so I hope if you're taking part that you're looking forward to it like I am. Keep an eye out on the hashtag on Twitter, because I will be, well, myself and Sam will be doing Twitter sprints as and when we can, and yeah, I hope you enjoy joining up with a buddy, making a new friend possibly, or just buddy reading with someone you haven't before, or buddy reading with a friend that you enjoy reading with. It's just a great opportunity to get together with friends and have a really great week of reading. Those of you that can't take part, no worries, and I hope that those of you going to BAA or who are completing up exams or end of year at school or university, I wish you loads of luck with that, and I hope that everything goes smoothly for you. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, Booktube.